Allison Turner, founder of Batcat Media Group, home of Dream Plan Start Grow. Today I want to talk a little bit about Think and Grow Rich. So a lot of people have either heard of this book, they've read this book, they've listened to the audible of this book, or they've heard something quoted out of this book by Napoleon Hill. And the one thing, I think he has some great points. Like I've listened to the audible and I've read maybe a PDF version of the book. But the one thing I have to get by is the language because of when it was written, and obviously it was more of a male society as well. And I haven't read it for a while, so I need to go back and check it out again. But I wanted to give you an alternative that still keys into a lot of the great points of Think and Grow Rich, but is more focused to real life experience today. So I wanted to give you that. So I'm going to remove this one and actually add this book. So I want to talk about this book called Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? So it is by an author, Ramy, and I'm going to butcher the last name, so I apologize, Ramy El-Batrawi. I actually got the opportunity to meet him end of last year, which was great. He's a billionaire. You can read up on him, Google him. But he wrote this book really to get it out to the masses because he was trying to impact a greater number of people. But what he did is he put it in more layman's terms, and it's a really easy read. There's some stories about his life and different things that happened in his life that help you move towards what you want to do. So I just wanted to go over a couple of quotes today that I thought were key for me, that I had actually underlined in the book when I read it, and talk a little bit about those. And some of them are similar to what you've read in Napoleon Hill's book. And Ramy actually read Napoleon Hill's book starting at age 12, and he continued to read it. And that's really, he attributes that to helping drive him to success throughout his career when he made his money, sometimes lost the money, made the money again. So the burning desire is what keeps you going no matter how many roadblocks you face. So that's one of Napoleon Hill's key points, is burning desire. But again, Ramy puts it into more layman's terms, or today's language, that really helps us understand it a little bit better. You must be relentless in order to proceed. Meaning you have to continue to go. So many of us today, we hit that roadblock and we just like are shocked that the roadblock's actually there. Now what do we do? So you have to be relentless in order to continue to proceed. Another quote he says is, I learned how to shift in whatever direction was optimal, except for one. I never moved backwards, never looked over my shoulder to the past with regret. I made the ability to shift or pivot my default way of acting. So when he got on there, when he was in motion, if something came up, a roadblock came up, he couldn't figure out what the heck to do, he would shift or alter his direction in order to get around that roadblock. He wouldn't just stop and pause and be like, now what do I do? What's this roadblock sitting here? He would always figure out what the roadblock, what was there, what he needed to do to find that success. And all that was based on that burning desire. Fear stops most people from achieving success. So yesterday I talked a little about fear versus faith. And how fear can negatively impact you. So here he is talking about fear stops most people from achieving success. That's so true. How many times have you run into a situation and immediately that fear comes up and you're like, oh no, I can't do that. I don't have the money. I don't have the know-how. I don't know what to do right now. And either you stop and you have that, paralysis by analysis type of thing, or you move forward, you don't move forward at all and you just sit there, which is the paralysis by, analysis, or you go the other direction. He talks about how he didn't wait for the perfect opportunity, but instead put my maximum effort into anything I started. Again, how many of us wait for that perfect opportunity? I have done that. I've clearly done that in many situations, like, oh, it's just not the right time. How many times do we hear ourselves say that, a friend say that, it's just not the right time. I can't do it right this second. Or tomorrow maybe it'll be different. It's not the right time for me to join the gym. It's not the right time for me to start a business. How many times have we heard that? And there's never a perfect time. No matter where we are in our lives, never, ever, ever is there a perfect time to start anything. I don't think I've ever started anything. Hey, Peg, thanks for jumping on here. Yes, it is a great book. He also talks about more is lost through indecision than a wrong decision. Again, it's that paralysis piece where we hit that decision and we have, it's the two forks in the road. Like, which way do you go? Do you go down this path or do you go down this path? And you're like, oh, crap. I have no idea which path to go down. And you just sit there and you analyze this path for a little while, you analyze this path for a little while, and then you don't do anything. Or you go backwards. Even worse, you go backwards and you're like, oh, I can't go down either of these paths. That's not good either. So think about how, what the best decision is and go with it. He talks about more is lost through indecision than a wrong decision. So even if you have a wrong decision, we learn from those wrong decisions. That's a good thing. So you go down the wrong, say you not accidentally, but you choose this path or this decision. And then you realize maybe that's not the right decision, but you don't know that for maybe a month down the road. But at least you made the decision and you move forward and then you realize that. And that's okay. That's okay that you made a wrong decision because you learned from that opportunity and you're better off the next time when you're faced with another decision. And then the final quote I want to talk about is, you truly become what you think about most of the time. That's why I constantly think about building wealth. That is his quote, not my quote, but it's why he's a billionaire. I probably need to do that too. But he has lost money, and he's lost everything, and he's built it again. I can't imagine how hard that would be to lose everything and then build it all the way back up to that billionaire status again. So think about that. What do you think about most of the time? Is it something positive? Is it, what you're really wanting to do in life? So build wealth, which is his end goal. Or, because he knows when he builds the wealth, he can impact more people positively. So it's not just, okay, I got to build all this wealth and I want to, make all this money and I want to buy all these planes and all this stuff. And no, he's trying to impact the world in a positive way. Because remember, wealth allows you to impact others in a positive way. So that's really part of his goal, is to impact others in a positive way. That's why he wants to build the wealth. Not so he can just have mansions and all these things. No, impact others. But that's what he continues to think about. He's thought about that since he was 12. And when you read this book, Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? Ramy talks about his journey on all the different steps he made in order to get in front of the right people, he picked up and sold everything once to follow this billionaire he wanted to have as a mentor. And I don't remember the exact story. I got to read this book again, but he picked up and followed him and essentially moved into the guy's house and, until the guy agreed to have him work for him. Think how persistent that is. Think of what fear would have come up, for me at least. So I really recommend this book. It breaks everything down into the English of today. I like Napoleon Hill's book. It's clear, queer quotes and queer examples, but the language is from obviously the time when he was around, which is okay. But Ramy's book is a great example for today. I really recommend it. Check it out. It is available on Amazon. I don't get any kind of commission or anything off of it. It's been a book that's impacted me. I got the opportunity to meet him, which is awesome. And hopefully I'm going to try and get him on my podcast. I got to reach out to him and see if I can get him on my podcast to interview. I think that would be awesome. So check it out. I hope everyone has a great afternoon and a great evening. Allison Turner, Batcat Media Group, home of Dream Plan Start Grow. Make a great one, everyone.